Hey guys, this is Nephis here, and in this video we'll be going over the build I used for our Unchained in Veteran Blackrose Prison, which is basically no death, no sigils, and a speedrun. Obviously you don't need to use this build for such a purpose. You can use this build to do other things with your group, or you can mix and match other sets for this kind of general concept of a build that you have enough sustain and that you're tanky enough on this Dragonknight class that you can just clear Blackrose Prison, or just do it, or perhaps push it with faster scores, or faster times, or faster scores. I've been getting a lot of people asking me, what's your raise, what's your Mundus, what's your CP? So, and as always, I don't really like answering the same questions over and over and over on different videos or in different instances. So I am just going to lay it all out in this video, and I'll be going over every single thing. So to start off with, yes, the race is Imperial. Do you have to be Imperial? No, you don't have to be Imperial. Lots of people say as long as you know how to do content and so on, race doesn't really matter. It is true, race doesn't really matter to a certain extent, but certain race stats do help, and for Imperial, I always prefer Imperial for things like VDSA, and in this case for Blackrose Prison, Imperial, because the max stats are so comfortable, even compared to an Argonian. The potion passive is always talked about, always raved about. Sure, that's a really good passive to have, but in certain instances, certain trials even, I would prefer Imperial's max stats over the Argonian's potion passive, and that's about it. I mean, just looking at it, it's incredible. 12% max health, wow, without even really trying, you're already fucking tanky. Max stamina, 10%, there you go. And the Red Diamond, it's not that great compared to certain other passives, certain other heal passives, but it is still a heal, and it has saved my life actually a few times in other instances. So yes, I am an Imperial Dragonknight, and that's pretty much it. We're going to be going over the gear sets. A lot of people were curious about the gear sets while streaming our Blackrose Prison runs, and the gear set I used for Arena 1 through 4, for all the trash, even the bosses of Arenas 1, 2, 3, and 4 in Blackrose Prison, was Dragonknight 2-piece. Now, a lot of people ask me, why not Bloodspawn, why not Lord Warden, why not whatever. So, I just thought to myself, like, why would I want to spam Talons? It's like almost 4k magic to cast every time I want to minor maim, and also root. Rooting is pretty important for some of the ads because they tend to move around a lot, or they back up a lot, like the ranged fucking mages, which is pretty annoying, but I'll get to that later. Why would I not use Talons instead? Because it's part of my class toolkit. Well, because 1, I'm fucking lazy. 2, it actually really helps to have a free minor maim. I mean, it's ridiculous, the size of the AoE Dragonknight puts out. It's ridiculous, and how often it does, it's pretty much constant. Like, everything is minor maim constantly, and you don't have to do anything except get hit. That's about it. Like, I would say I would use this on every other class too, for the trash rounds, because it's just so helpful that you can't always really guarantee everything to be minor maimed with Talons. You can try, but I feel like the use of Magicka, like your sustain, can go elsewhere more useful. And that's pretty much why I use Dragonknight, but I do change it out for, well, I'll get to it later, for a different monster set for the last arena and the last boss. The 5-piece we want to use pretty much forever. It helps a lot with the unexpected or expected incoming damage from bosses or trash in Blackrose Prison is 5-piece Ebon. Traits wise, you can do like 3 infuse on the large pieces, or even all sturdy, or just sturdy on the small pieces. Either way, it doesn't really make a difference, at least for me it doesn't. But yeah, the 5-piece Ebon, definitely nice, definitely helpful. And considering some of the healing debuffs you do take in there, the 4% healing taken is pretty nice. And also it does give you a safety net with your group. I mean, it's like, there's no reason to not have it. I mean, if you want to compare the Torix Pact, sure, Torix Pact will give you a bit more penetration, but it's like a difference of 600 something between Crusher and non-Torix Crusher and Torix Crusher. I mean, do you want to do that versus more survivability? It's up to you as a group. And the final 5-piece that we'll be talking about here is 5-piece OwOrime. There's this feeble argument that OwOrime is fucking garbage or something. And people think that, oh, you can't use it unless you're in an organized group. And you're going to be like, oh, yeah, of course you use it. You're in an organized group. You gotta know that, blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't matter if you're in the fucking unorganized group or not. OwOrime is much better than SPC. SPC is fucking garbage. Just decon it. I don't care how long it took you to farm Spell Power Cure from Micro Tower. It's fucking garbage compared to OwOrime. Now, OwOrime, there's two reasons why I did this. Our group composition, we did have like an off healer, meaning the healer did DPS but also healed too. But we didn't want the healer to have OwOrime because you'll be doing shit DPS in OwOrime. So we decided to have the tank in OwOrime, which is me, and I was fine with it because one, it helps the group. Like the Major Courage, it's fucking insane. 30 seconds. For 30 seconds, people get Major Courage, and you can cast this every 10 seconds. You can get 100% uptime on every single round, on every single wave, on every single boss. You can get 100% uptime if you know where your group is going to stand, and so on and so on. Or you can just put it out and people will just take the fucking buff. But yeah, it's a pretty insane set. The second reason why I didn't mind as a tank to take a Magicka set on the sword and board, well, it doesn't really interfere with my heavy setup, so it's not going to change 5-piece heavy, 1-piece light, 1-piece medium. Also, it does offer sustainability. Now, we talked about the general concept of having sustain and being tanky. OwOrime is going to give you a lot of sustain. Look at the 2-piece magic recovery, the 4-piece magic recovery. That's quite a lot of magic recovery, and on the jewelry you can have like 2 magic recovery enchants and 1 cost reduction enchant. That's a lot of sustain. And that's pretty much it. Traits wise, you can have 1 infuse and 2 arcane. I would not recommend triple infuse because I tried it and it feels like you need at least 1 or 2 arcane for your max Magicka pool to handle the stress of constantly chaining things and making sure things are interrupted with deep breath, putting out Cinderstorm, and having enough Magicka left to do Igneous Shield. So yeah, that is pretty much the gear sets. 2-piece Dragonknight, 5-piece 7, 5-piece OwOrime. On the back bar, I would have also liked 5-piece OwOrime, but I didn't have a spare set of sword and board, so I just went with 2-piece dragon I happen to have lying around in my backpack, which is another max magic recovery, 129 magic recovery. And that's it for gear sets. I did mention earlier that I swapped out gear for the last boss, and here it is. It's pretty much the fucking same. You're just keeping the OwOrime, you're keeping the dragon 2-piece on the back bar, you're keeping 5-piece 7. The only thing that's changed is Lord Warden, and this is because I do use Talons on the last arena and the last boss, because the ads are very problematic. The ads move a lot, especially the ranged ones, and you don't want them to move out and cast AoEs out. It will potentially kill your run. So you want the Lord Warden as well, because you're not going to use Dragonknight because you're going to be using Talons. So what's really good for the last boss? Lord Warden, because everyone's going to be stacked on them DPSing, and if anything happens, like say a totem throws a stone at your group, then the Lord Warden will undoubtedly help with the mitigation. And I didn't go with Earth Core or Sentinel or something like that heals over time, or burst heals, because a lot of things, ironically, a lot of the things in Blackrose Prison are one-shots, and Murkmire as a patch was supposed to be so emphasized on, making healers feel fucking useful, but let's make everything one-shot anyway. But yeah, Lord Warden, the mitigation just from the resistances will help both you and the group, and that's why I take it for the last arena and the last boss. Let's talk about the skill setups before we go into CP, and we'll be done. As a side note, before I forget, because I sometimes forget in other videos, my Mundus stone is the Atronac, and the stage 3 vamp. I'll never go stage 4 ever, and you want tri-stat food. Now your magic recovery is going to be a bit higher because my CP is a little messed up for VHOF right now, but it's going to be around 1800 magic recovery, and with a potion pop it might be higher or lower depending on your stats. But yeah, let's go over the skills first. So for arenas 1 through 4, you can swap it out obviously, but this is a general theme. You have Cinderstorm to lay down OwOrime. You have Pierce Armor for your taunt and debuff. You have Igneous Shield, and obviously, let's see, you have Dragon Fire Scale to help with the boss's ranged attacks. The boss ranged attacks to cast a dot on you, which is pretty annoying. This does not, however, help with the melee boss, the vampire bitch, I forget her name. But basically, it helps with every other boss. The archer boss on the second arena, the fire staff boss on the first arena, and it also helps with other ads casting things at you, like the infernals on the third and fourth arenas. So this is a really important skill to have from arenas 1 through 4. Balance is there as your default major resolve, major ward buff. Also, it does give you a bit of mash get back. It's pretty much a must-have. Even if you don't have a healer or a dedicated healer, your off healing from DPS from like vigor and shit is going to be enough. For your ult on the front bar, it's going to be aggressive horn. There are times where you obviously will not be horning, but there are times where you should be horning to give your group major force to burn down a boss to skip certain mechanics, or even just get past a really tough ad like a Hachimota. On the back bar, we have something a little different. Since we're still using Dragonknight for arenas 1 through 4, we don't have talons anymore. We have inner range as the range taunt, really helpful to stack things quicker. Unrelenting grip, which is chains to pull it in, self-explanatory. We have vigor, we have deep breath, and deep breath is like next to wings, it's probably like the second most needed skill in there, considering there's so many things that need to be interrupted, and you can't just bash one by one and something's not going to go off eventually. But yeah, you're going to want deep breath. And as an added bonus, chains does interrupt too, at least the ones that are CCable. So you essentially have 2 interruptables right here in your back bar. And you have green dragon blood. You can pop this passively, or you can pop this as a reactive heal. And on the back bar you have magma shell. I debated using replenishing Shimmery on the back bar just to get a bit more magic recovery out of it, but it wasn't really by much, so I just went back to magma shell because it's just insanely powerful in there. If you ever need to pop it, it's relatively low ult cost for what it does. It's only like 50 ult away from Horn. But yeah, this is basically your bar setup for arenas 1 through 4 as a Dragonknight tank. Now on the last arena and the last boss, this will be what your bars look like. As you can see, nothing much has changed except we removed wings. We don't really need wings, we need talons. So we just put both tons in the front bar. Obviously, this is a matter of preference, but I felt like the ads on the last arena of Blackrose Prison were probably the hardest trash I had to handle since, honestly, since Sanctum Ophidia came out. I mean, it felt like if I didn't taunt certain ads in time, like especially the melee ads, they would just fucking go to town on the group. And the range ads are no joke either. So that's why we need the talents for them, so they don't, run away and fuck the group over. But yeah, this is a matter of preference. You can put inner range on the back bar if you'd like, but I felt like I needed both taunts on my front bar. But it's up to you whether you want to do that. And we still have the same gear set, so you still have Cinderstorm on the front bar, and we pretty much have the same thing. We just have talons, and we just have inner range on the front bar, and that's it. No Dragonknight. As a matter of optimizing your group composition, as a side note, yes, you can do Warden tanking, you can do whatever tanking you want, honestly. If you're going to go with a stam composition, I would still do a DK tank, and you'll be asking, well, why would you want to do that? You don't need Engulfing Flames. Yes, but you have to remember, guys, that this patch, as a Murkmire, they did buff Mountain's Blessing, the Minor Brutality passive, which went from 5% weapon damage boost to 10% weapon damage boost, and they did this for the other minor buffs as well. And it's not a joke to miss this buff, so I would still run DK tank instead of every other class for a stam composition. If you want to go with a magic composition, we're just back to the original Engulfing Flames argument. But yeah, that is pretty much it for food, item setups, bar setups, and so on, and class and race. And for the CP, we're just gonna go over this pretty quickly. You want into Ironclad. That's pretty much a must, or not a must, but a really nice thing to have for tanks nowadays in every trial, in every instance of dungeon or arena in this case. And this is going to look a little different here. Let me change it up a little bit. We're going to have 56 Hardy, 56 Ellie, 61 Dick. I I mean, I don't think there's a real big difference, but I think I did 66 thick skin right here, and everything else into heavy armor focus, because your physical resistance as a tank is always going to be lower than your spell resistance, and you want to mitigate the heavy attacks that come from the gargoyles, the two-handers, and all that a bit more effectively. So, and the dots are pretty insane in Blackrose Prison if you do get hit by the dots. So I would say at least 20 to 22% thick skin is going to help a lot. Green CP wise, it's going to be interesting because it kind of depends on what you're trying to do as a group, but I find this CP to be a little better. Like, I would do lessen the tenacity, because I don't really essentially feel any difference between like 5 and 9% tenacity. And you want at least 10% Arcanist to help with that magic recovery stat. And you don't really need too much breaking free. I would say maybe 10% backshot focus and everything else into Sprinter. For the most part, 19% dodge roll cost reduction is enough. And depending on how many sturdy you have and such, I would say 81 tops is enough for your block cost reduction in the shadow tree. For the blue tree, again, you don't really need to have strictly healing CP, but it is nice to just completely go all out in healing, especially if you don't have a healer. So you can do like 100 blessed, and don't forget your 120 points into the ritual for the last stand. The last stand perk has helped me so many times as a tank in this game and in Blackrose Prison. You can do, like, since you have a dot with turns, and you can put, and that's it. It's pretty simple. 100 blessed, 50 health point. You don't really have much to put in. You don't really have much to put into the Atronach unless you want to try to go for tactician, but I mean, that's not really needed. And that's it. That's pretty much it. It's pretty simple, pretty direct, and that is Blackrose Prison CP, guys, for a Dragonknight tank. I don't think I'm forgetting anything, but I guess if you guys wanted me to go over other set combinations, let me know down in the comments below. But generally speaking, you could probably do something like 5-piece Powerful Assault, 5-piece 7, or 5-piece OwOrime and 5-piece Powerful Assault. I think I know a tank that's done Blackrose Prison in medium. It's doable, so there's that option too. But obviously, if you're a beginner or you're sort of new to Blackrose Prison, or you feel like your group's not ready for it enough, don't be shy going 5-piece heavy. It's no big deal. Dragon is also a good option for your secondary 5-piece if you don't have OwOrime. And for this setup, I do recommend Perfected, because that Perfected set gives you an extra bonus of max Magicka. And the more Magicka and Magicka recovery I had, the easier it was. Jorvolds, I mean, sure, you can just do it for the raw Magicka recovery stats, and that's about it. Alkosh, honestly, not needed at all in there. Your DPS should come with prepared sets, like Two-Fanged or even just CP into Piercing if they're Stam, or Lover if they're Stam, so you don't really need Alkosh, and it's not like you're going to get any certain use at all. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If I had to do something differently from my previous runs in Blackrose Prison, I would probably go with a lightning staff on the back bar instead. The reason why I went with double sword and board is because I just didn't really feel comfortable tanking certain ads with a staff on the back bar. If I stayed on the back bar for a moment too long, I would have probably died in multiple cases. So that's why I stayed with the sword and board and the back bar. But yeah, that's the only thing I would have done differently. And thank you guys so much for watching this video. I will see you guys next time. If you guys have any other more questions for me about the build or about Blackrose Prison in general, let me know down in the comments below, and see you next time. Have a great day.